Now what will it be? Death or exile?
Hey,
I do it for the ladies.
hey,
I gotta keep it hood.
I do it for the city,
Where you at,
homie.
Polo?
Yeah. I know y'all miss.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the film Exiles podcast. Today, we are reviewing the 2019 movie Hustlers. My name is Lupe, yours truly, and I'm joined today by Manu.
Hi everyone, how you doing? How's it going, Lou?
It's going well. It's good to have you on the podcast, Manu. And you've seen Hustlers. I haven't, so today I'll be interviewing you. And I'm sure by the end of this interview, we'll know whether to go see it or whether to not go see it. Okay, so Hustlers. It's inspired by the viral New York Magazine article, which follows a crew of savvy strippers who band together to turn the tables on their Wall Street clients. Film stars Constance Wu, Jennifer Lopez, Julia Stiles, Kiki Palmer, Lily Reinhardt, Lizzo, and Cardi B. It's directed and written by Lorene Scafaria. So this is a female-driven movie. Stars an all-female cast. Those are the stars, and directed by a woman as well. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. And although the Toronto International Film Festival isn't as prestigious as Cannes or Venice, it still holds an amount of cachet. And you expect that films that premiere at these film festivals, they're going for awards. So Manu, how would you describe Hustlers and the job that Lorene Scafaria did? Is this like a prestige awards level movie?
It's hard for me to answer that question because I think she did a very good job. I think that Hustlers is. I think there's a lot of strong qualities to this film, but to go as far as it winning prestige awards, as far as Oscar nominations, I don't quite think that it reaches those heights.
Okay. So how did you find the story in general? Was it compelling, and did she do a good job?
See, yeah, I think that that's my biggest issue with the movie. I think that the story in it is in and of itself is very solid. She does a good job of taking us through the events that take place in the lives of these characters. We go from the beginning, from when they meet to how everything takes place that leads them to turning the tables, as the synopsis says. And I think it does a very good job of explaining how we got from point A to point B. But unfortunately, it feels too much like it's more interested in showing us these events in the way that they happened, and it does lack a certain emotional resonance. And I think that they try to put in a lot of these elements towards the end of the film instead of sprinkling them through the rest of the movie. So the third act there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of other dimension that's added to the movie in the last act that are not present in the first two acts, and I feel that the story would have been a lot stronger if those elements had been there throughout. But it really feels like she was focused on telling us these events in the first and second act, and then she spends the third act trying to add in a certain emotional support that was not there before. I hope that I explained that correctly.
No, you did, because one of the things about telling a based on true events story is that a lot of times real life is more boring than stories and mythology lets on. So the craft of a director or a writer is to dramatize those events and add a mythological component to it that makes it worthy of popular mythology. And so if the director wasn't able to sort of lay those bricks all through the story, then it may come off almost like a documentary, in part. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it comes off as a documentary. I wouldn't go that far, but I don't want to spoil the movie, but there are some elements, especially towards Constance Wu's characters, her motivations that really seem thrown in there, and when they should have been better sprinkled throughout the story. It seems like the third act really tries to push in her motivations in the end, and then it to kind of give the film a different dimension than what we had gotten up until that point.
Okay, so I know this movie is about strippers, and there's a lot of TNA, and there's a lot of, how can I put it, a lot of eye candy. But does the movie try to say anything more than that? Are there any themes or lessons or?
Actually, yes. I would say there is a lot of eye candy. All of the women look gorgeous, and they all do phenomenal jobs. I laughed actually quite a bit during the course of the movie, and I think that a lot of that is due to these women who are all very good in their roles. But yeah, the movie did try to give us a different outlook onto the financial crash of 2008, one of the worst that America has ever seen, and it wanted to show us how this affected this group of women, and I'm guessing everybody within that profession, and how it affected how everything went, because we get to see how things were before and after. And I think that the movie does an okay job of showing just how deep the corruption ran, and how what these men were doing with the money that they were stealing, and where it was going. So I do think that the movie did try to highlight that, and it also tries to bring up themes about female friendship, and how friendship can save us from going down certain darker paths that we could avoid if we had the right people, the right support system around us.
Okay, cool. So on that note, talking about support systems and people, how was the acting? How did the lead actors do? How did they?
Like I mentioned earlier, I think that everybody did a very good job. I don't think there was any poor performances. Constance Wu is very good. Jennifer Lopez is also very good. Reinhardt is actually quite funny. Keke Palmer was quite funny as well. And there's a pretty good supporting cast here. My favorite supporting cast member was Wai Jing Ho, which plays Constance Wu's grandmother. I thought that she was really funny, and she really tried to, and I felt like her character really centered Constance Wu's character in the movie. Yeah, so I think I don't think that there was. I can't say that there were any bad performances. I think everybody filled out their role very well. There are a couple of surprise cameos. One in particular that I won't spoil for anybody, but there's a great cameo from a very famous music artist in this movie, and all in all, yeah, I think that Jennifer Lopez is really good in this role. She's really good. She commands the stage. She commands the screen when she's on, and I think that her and Constance Wu play very well off of one another. I think they have a very good rapport, great chemistry, and yeah, I think that the acting is pretty good.
Okay, how did Cardi B do? Because this is Cardi B's first major motion picture.
Yes. Cardi B was Cardi B.
Okay.
She basically played herself.
Okay. All right.
She basically played herself. Yeah.
All right. So now let's talk about the technical aspects of the film. Technically, how was the film?
I think the film was very well shot. It was very well shot. I'll give it that. I don't think that there is much. There's a great one shot at the beginning of the movie where we see Constance Wu walking through the strip club. I think that's one of my favorite sequences. The camera moves along with her, and we kind of see what the strip club looks like from the stripper's point of view as she's walking from the dressing room onto the stage. So that was really cool. It kind of felt like we were entering the world alongside Constance Wu. I really enjoyed that. Then there's some really interesting shot selections and shot composition. But overall, I think it's a very well shot movie. I think the score is good. There's a lot of pop music that's utilized because the movie kind of jumps through time, so they kind of use music to kind of ground the movie in the era that we're in. Like during 2007, we'll get certain the songs from that year, and then as we go through 2008, 2014, and so on and so forth. So all in all, I think that technically the movie's solid.
Okay. All right. So overall, what do you think of the movie? Any last thoughts? And did you like it? And would you recommend it to us to go see in theaters, to wait, till it comes on Netflix, or should we just miss it altogether?
I do not think people should miss it. I do think that it's a solid movie. It's a good movie. I think people should watch it. I think it's worth a trip to the theater. I would say. I would say maybe a matinee at worst. I think there's a great energy, especially in the dancing scenes. I think that they do a really good job of showing what it feels like to be in a strip club and how. And pardon me.
How do you know?
I plead the fifth. I think that they do that, and honestly, I liked some of the angles of showing the solidarity between these women and their friendships and how they work together and got together. I think it's a decent movie that's worth your time and your attention.
All right, cool. So on that note, I'm looking forward to seeing the movie based on your recommendation. It does sound interesting. Thanks for this interview and this review. I've been yours truly, Lupe. You can find me on Twitter at LiveLoveLupe. And Manu, where can people find you to talk to you about films more?
You can find me at ManUnited0710 on Twitter.
Okay. Cheers, guys. Thanks. And until next time, see you later.
Thanks.